one of the quotes that stuck with me, and what a freaking awesome way to take this all in. Yesterday, it was a beautiful sunset, right? I mean, just a crisp winter afternoon, not too cold. Out there on the bike, riding around with the kids, listen to the press conference, sunset, stark feeling, this kind of gray day, this gray overcast day in a lot of ways, a kind of a day where you don't know exactly what's next, and that's a little scary, but you still see the beauty in the moment. And one thing that he said that really stuck out to me is he said, I don't know what's next. And that feels good. And he kept going back to that, right? And again, I think we can all empathize. We can all appreciate what it's like when you've been doing something for that long, that all in, that committed. And you have the resources now where you can kind of choose to step away and explore different options and explore new things. I can appreciate feeling excited about that. So we don't know what comes next for Sean Payton. He's at TV a lot. We'll see. Coaching, we'll talk about that. But what comes next for the New Orleans Saints, do you think? Where do you go here? Do we rebuild? Do we just bump up Dennis Allen? Do you go through a full coaching search? Like what? Yeah. Where do you go next?
I think so. I think you interview candidates, and you can't just name Dennis Allen the head coach. Like there's a process. Like even if you wanted to, you have to go through the process to interview coaches and the Rooney Rule. We know all of that. That's kind of the question. Do you try to keep some of the same mojo in that building? Because you could. Dennis Allen becomes the head coach. Richard becomes your defensive coordinator. Like you keep that same synergy on the defensive side, which you were close to elite this year when healthy.
Yeah.
So you keep that, and do you keep Pete on to call plays because he knows the offensive players, or do you start over there? Those are really the questions. How much do you want to start over? How much do you want to try to just hold on to what you've had for so long? Because, offensively, like that shadow staff, they've been in place for a very long time.
Yeah, so you would assume that Pete Carmichael, and he's called plays in the past. Now, I'm trying to think about what year that was, and then didn't Peyton immediately take it back maybe the next year? But either way, he knows this offense inside and out. The things that I worry about here is, well, first off, you are in a weird middle ground where, like Jake said, it's not like if you were just bad on both sides of the ball, then yeah, you could just say, okay, well, it's time to hit the full reset button, right? And maybe that still is the play. I can't see it exactly. But the fact that the defense is elite and can make you somewhat relevant is tantalizing enough. You're like, okay, can we do this? But then the problem is, what's the biggest thing holding you back right now? And it's not the salary cap. It's not. A lot of people tell you that. People are still off base on the Saints salary cap. I've got Nick Underhill's article pulled up right here from New Orleans Football, where how the Saints can clear $80 to $90 million in cap space this offseason without cutting anyone. Okay? So don't listen to people tell you the cap. That's not the biggest problem. What's the biggest problem? No quarterback. Right? And the problem there is, Jake, that's such a hard thing to solve that it's like, is that so hard to solve that you have to be like, okay, well, I don't know. Maybe we do bust up this elite defense. Just because this could be years in the making. Because all of a sudden, I feel like Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are out, right? Like
Rashawn being out.
Yeah, like I don't think that Russell Wilson's having New Orleans as a place that he wants to come and try to win a Super Bowl if Peyton's not going to be here.
It's fair.
And so then you probably have to go young in the draft to try to find that guy. And then are you wasting Amari Davis? You waste some of these defensive resources? Cam Jordan? I don't. It's really tough to say today.
You can always bring back your guy.
Rob Ryan?
Jameis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
If you're somebody who's pro Jameis, it definitely hasn't changed the way you feel about the potential of him coming back to this team.
You said it hasn't changed?
No, it has to change.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, if you're somebody who wanted Jameis back, you probably wanted him back because he was playing in Sean Payton's system.
Yeah.
But now that Sean Payton's out, it has to change the way how you feel about it.
And not even as much Sean Payton's system, because, again, Carmichael can keep the system, but playing for the teacher, Sean Payton, the developer, the quarterback whisperer.
Literally having him in your ear all the time.
Yeah. And think about how hard it would be to be Dennis Allen here. If you really are, let's just hypothetical here. Imagine Dennis Allen's the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
You stand up in front of that room, Jake. What do you think the players are thinking? I mean, they know this guy, but you are stepping into like the Peyton specter looms so large after 16 years.
Yeah.
Can you even take on that mantle and then command that respect? How do you do it differently while keeping the culture the same? These are
one side of the football would, like the defense would. The defense would be like, this is our guy, right? We're going to do whatever. We're going to play just like we have. It'd be the offensive players because they see him as an assistant coach in their eyes. Like right, wrong, and different. Like that's going to happen. I know for me, like in my career in San Diego, Ron Rivera was our defense coordinator. It's like, hey, what's up, Ron? Yeah, it's defense coordinator.
Yeah.
Like if he became the head coach, like at that time, I don't know. Even Jack Del Rio was our coordinator in Denver. What's up, Jack? You know, it's a different relationship.
Makes sense.
And then, like, can you train yourself? Like, even though Jack Del Rio's been a head coach and had success as a head coach, is like that's the defense coordinator. That's like when you elevate someone, that's always kind of one of the worries is we know he has that side of the football, but can you galvanize the entire team?
Yeah. And
Dennis Allen's he's been a head coach before. Now where he went, nobody could win at that time. But can he gain that respect? He maybe can. Maybe he already has it.
Maybe he does, right? That's a good point too. We don't know. We're not in that locker room. When you think about the cool factor of Peyton and what guys like Emmanuel Sanders, right, coming in and talking about how Peyton and the culture is different down there. It's very fun. It's very player friendly. He wears J's, like all of these things. Just can you fill that void? And maybe it's a situation where you try and then you learn that you can't, and then the Saints make further moves like in a couple of years. It's all up in the air right now. I will say this. Okay, if we want to be overly positive here, Jake, as we go to break, Ross Jackson, who does Locked on Saints daily, says, and not everybody's going to agree with this, and we can debate this too, but for the optimistic ones out there, he says the New Orleans Saints now have the most desirable head coaching job available. Stable ownership, a talented defense, phenomenal scouting department, innovative GM team, and an NFC conference that is undergoing so much change. Strong points there from us. We got to go to break. We'll be back quickly, close out hour one. Matt Flynn showed up a little frustrating in hour two. Keep it locked.